All right, guys. We are live. It's Thursday, the 27th of June. And I got a great show for everyone. Ha. Since we have the debate going on tonight, I figure we will, no matter what the outcome of the debate is going to be, right? Nothing is going to change in this. And so this goes out to both the presidents.
If efficiency and progress is ours once
Dead
more,
Kennedys, kill the
now
poor.
that we have the neutron bomb, it's nice and quick and clean and gets things done. Away with the sessionomy, but no less valued a property. The sense in war, but perfect sense at home. The sun beats down on a brand new day. No more welfare tax to pay. And St. Salem's gonna be flashing a light. Jobless millions whisked away. At last we have more room to play. Our systems don't kill the poor tonight. Gotta kill the poor. Kill the poor. Kill the poor tonight.
We're going to be looking at the presidential debate map. We're going to be looking at CNN rules for the debate. Of course, there has to be rules, right? That, how this is going to be a very unusual debate. We're normally not like this. Kill the poor, guys. Kill the poor tonight. Oh yeah, we're gonna kill the poor. Well, the poor are gonna die. I mean, it's just their lot in life, I guess. What's going on, everyone? Yeah. I'm just too busy dancing. Everybody's having a good night. Are we all excited for the debate? Really, I really think that Trump has he's got an uphill battle here tonight. Yes, to remain dignified. Oh, Holy Harlot. Hey, Holy Harlot, I agree. There's no way that the U.S. debt is $1.25 trillion. I looked into it. I don't know what they're smoking over at Forbes magazine. I don't know what they're smoking over there, Holy. But yeah, no, there's no way that the U.S. interest is $4 trillion. I agree. You are correct, sir. Ma'am, whatever you are. Whatever you identify as. Attack helicopter. I'm just gonna call you. I'm just gonna call you a attack helicopter. What's going on, everyone? It's me, Space McG, your favorite cartoon nerd with the news, and I'm back at it again. We are doing this thing. What thing is that? Well, it's the presidential debate. Yes. It is presidential debate night. That's an early in the year debate. Most people believe that is so that the Democrats can give Joe a fighting chance to impress America, and then if he doesn't, they can pull him out and stick somebody else in. Maybe a Gretchen Whitmer, maybe a Michelle Obama. I heard Hillary wants to be president. We don't know. We don't know who's what their plan is. But it doesn't matter because even 270 to win is saying that Donald Trump will win the election. We're going to look at all these polls and this presidential map, and it's actually worse than what they think. Like, Donald Trump is going to win by It's going to be like 300 to 200. Like 3 something to 2. Maybe Joe Biden might be lucky to get 200. We're going to look at it. Yes, everyone expects Trump to remain. Well, everyone expects Trump to fly off the handle, but we hope what Trump needs to do is remain dignified. Trump has to really let them abuse him and take the abuse, right? Because that's only going to play up his folk hero status, right? So he has to sit there like a grown man and take the abuse, right? Let's show the world how rigged the system is against him, right? And that's only going to further his fame and fortune, right? So it's in Trump's best interest to let them all beat up on him, gang up on him, cut his mic, lie about what he said, right? Because in the end, it's only going to play up to the image that he is crafting as this like anti-hero, like James Dean type character, right? And that is only going to help him, right? I've got $5 that Biden has a heart attack, stroke live on air. Oh, I don't know. I don't think he's going to have a heart attack. I'm tempted to take that bet. All right, who we got out in the crowd? We've got old smooth jazz plays. What's going on there, brother? We've got Jets. We've got Holy Harlot with an illegal comment, who I have to compliment on being right. I don't see how the U.S. Treasury's interest payments on the debt or whatever, however that works. That's how it works. The Treasury's payment to the Federal Reserve is $4 trillion a year either. Unless there's some kind of math voodoo that I don't understand. I don't know. I wish I was big enough time that I could reach out to Forbes and they actually would get back to me and explain to me how they came up with that number. We've got Donna. We've got Freddie Sodium. What's going on, Freddie? Let's see. Gonna strike streamers. That's what they say. That's what they say. But we are fact-checking. We don't need to fact-check Donald Trump tonight because they're going to fact-check the shit out of him. But we are going to fact-check Joe Biden. In fact, Donald Trump is going to fact-check Joe Biden. Isn't that correct, sir? Oh, yeah, Space. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come out there and I'm going to show how Crooked Joe is nothing but a liar and a cheat and a fraud. And, Space, I got to tell you, they're going to be very unfair to me, right? And it's unfair, but I'm going to stay focused on the issues, Space. I'm not going to call Joe a child rapist, even if he is, okay? I'm not going to say, tell the Proud Boys to stand down this time, because they shouldn't stand down, Space. No one should ever stand down this time, okay? Okay, all right, back to you, Space. Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, let's see here. We've got Carol Warren. Hey, Carol. Carol is awesome, everyone. Carol, big ups for Carol. She sent me some money, and that is awesome. I love you, Carol. You fucking are really keeping me basically alive. Okay, we have Randy Martin up in here. What's up, Randy, baby? I hope everything's good. I hope you're ready for the show. We got Salty Gamer. What's going on, Salty? Frank Totten. What's going on, Mr. Totten? I hope everything is going well with you. Yeah, we got everybody up in here. That's fucking awesome. Yes, good. Good. I figured that there's a lot of competition for the debate tonight. So, I wasn't expecting a huge amount of people because there's so many other things going on. But I'm glad you guys stuck with the fucking winner. All right. You guys stuck with the little engine that could, and I'm very proud of I'm very happy about that. Now, so CNN has a bunch of stupid rules and, guidelines and things that are just unusual, right? about how they're hosting this debate. And so we're going to hear about that. I think everyone should hear what they expect the debate stage to look like and everything.
To the set of the CNN presidential debate. We want to give our viewers a sense of the rules of the debate so that when they watch it, they can understand how President Biden and President Trump will be engaging with each other. Just after 9 p.m. Eastern, President Biden will enter from the right side of your screen. President Trump will enter from the left side of your screen.
Well, that should be the other way around, shouldn't it? I'm just saying.
The podiums are 8 feet apart. Directly across from them, the moderators.
Whatever happened to 6 feet apart? I mean, I thought that was the scientifically proven made-up
Taffer
bullshit.
and Dana Bash. Now, a reminder, this is a television studio. There's no audience. Candidates will have 2 minutes to answer questions and 1 minute
just
for
like all the other
and
debates.
rebuttals.
There's never been
At the
a debate audience,
there may
guys.
be an additional minute for follow-ups, clarifications, or
If there's never been such thing as an audience at a debate.
responses.
You guys,
So
these
how does a
things happen
candidate know
inside of
how much
TV
time is left to
studios.
speak? Attached to the cameras in the studio and in the candidate's field of view are the timing lights. When the lights show yellow, there are 15 seconds left in a candidate's answer or response. When the lights flash red, there are 5 seconds left. And when the display is solid red, the time is up. At that point, the candidate's microphone will be turned off, and the other candidate will have their microphone turned on. My colleague, Victor Blackwell,
Nothing
has more on that.
suspicious about that.
Thank you, Phil. If we go behind the podiums, you can see 2 green lights. When they're on, they signal to the candidate his microphone is on. When the green lights are off, they signal to the candidate his microphone is off.
me.
Now I want to give you a sense of what it will look like for viewers at home if a candidate whose microphone is off interrupts a candidate whose microphone is on. So I'm standing at one podium, and I'll ask Phil to come in and take the other podium. And so let's say I'm answering a question. My light is green, and I'm speaking. Phil's microphone is off, and his green lights are not illuminated. He's going to interrupt me as I'm speaking, and this is what it will sound like. My volume remains constant, while Phil's interruption can be difficult to understand.
Let's try the opposite. My microphone is now on. Victor's microphone is off, and he's going to interrupt me. My volume
These fucking people, man. Oh, man. This is
remains
comical.
constant, while Victor's
This is how
interruption
dumb your
can be
average
difficult to
CNN voter
understand.
is, or viewer
We should
is,
note,
guys.
by agreeing
Hey,
to
what's up,
participate in
Smooth
this
Jazz,
debate,
Tam
both
Tam?
campaigns and
What's going on,
candidates
guys?
have also
Johnny
agreed to abide by
Arcade,
these
what's up?
rules. The CNN presidential debate airs
Yeah,
live
no shit.
at 9
Holy
p.m. Eastern.
Harlot says it's kindergarten. I agree. All right. So those are the rules of the debate, guys. That's how this shit's
For the
gonna
very
go
first
down.
time here in Out Front, we are going to bring you inside that debate.
You know what the shame is, really? Is that she's the hottest chick on CNN. Well, nope, they got rid of that one. Yep, she's the hottest chick on CNN. She would be like the ugliest. She'd be like the third ugliest girl on Fox News. But she's the hottest chick on CNN. All right, let's see here. They talk to us like we are retarded. Yeah, I know, right? And you can tell that's how dumb the CNN thinks that their viewers are by how they talk to them. Now, let me show you what it's like when my mic is off. Yeah, Space. You know that they do that so that they can talk over me. The moderators are going to talk over me during the whole debate. And I'm not going to be able to get a word in edgewise, Space. Yeah, I totally believe that that's true, Mr. President. I totally believe that they are going to do everything in their power to stop you from getting a fair chance to speak, sir. Yeah, Space, and you know, and I know that my presidency was the most successful presidency probably since Lincoln. I'm not saying Lincoln, Space, but it was better than Lincoln. Yeah, yes, sir, indeed. Let's see here. The moderator's mic should be cut too. No, that's only during Joe Biden. They're gonna let Joe Biden say everything, right? As soon as Trump opens their mouth, they're gonna pull up cheap fake fact checks, right? That's what we're gonna see tonight. Cheap fake fact checks from CNN that are gonna try to engage Trump in an argument with the moderator instead of being able to engage Joe Biden with all of his failures. Because really, Trump should just start listing Joe Biden's failures, right? He's got 90 minutes, so he'll have about a half an hour to speak. Yeah, that's not even enough time to list all of Joe Biden's failures as president and to give a 1 minute recap of all the failures that Joe Biden did since he was president. 30 minutes is not long enough. Right? I think so, right? Now, the problem is, guys, is that the expectations for Joe Biden are so low and the expectations for Trump are so high, right? It's going to be very hard for Joe Biden to look bad, right? Because no one expects him to do well, right? So as long as he's not an abysmal failure, right? As long as he doesn't forget where he is and what he's doing and starts getting naked, as long as those things don't happen, right? Joe Biden is going to get a pass on this, right? Right? And but whereas Trump, they're going to constantly be baiting him. They're going to call him, the moderators are going to call him a convicted felon. And you know that, right? 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 So that's what's going to happen here is that the moderators are going to constantly attack Trump, right? They're going to try to anger him and get him to lose his composure. And then they're also going to just hit him with the most ridiculous, cheap, fake, fucking collusion scam, all kinds of just bullshit made up fact checks, right? Oh, GP. Oh, that's because they get wrenches. You got to have a wrench, GP. Hold on, buddy. There you go, buddy. Now you got one too. All right. Yeah. So Trump is going to have an uphill battle, right? But that's okay. That's okay because we know that Trump's best plan is to remain civil, to remain calm and collected, and let them beat up on him. Right? Let them beat up on him because he can play that victim, that martyr, right? For him, the best outcome for Trump is to walk away from this thing looking like he didn't get a fair shake, right? Right? That is because that's just only going to play into this populism and that's behind him, right? Right? I think that is going to be his best hand, so to speak, to play, right? All right, guys. Now that we've done that, I say this, guys. When it comes to this debate, here's all you need to know. Here is Trump interacting with a young child.
Yeah, I'm going to do something. Come here. You're going to hit pay to it. You know what? Watch. Look at him, huh?
Look, he's got a fake Trump wig on.
Okay, hold it for now. You know what that is? Scam rejection.
Trump, would you ask Trump for an autograph? He signs a 20.
All right, Timmy. Come
Look at this guy now. Come in. We just added a little value.
Trump autographed the 20.
We love this kid. I like that kid. Timmy McConnell. So if your parents don't want you, I'll take you.
Yeah, baby.
He's a good boy.
Thank you, Mr. President.
What a guy he is.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Oh, see, that is how Trump interacts with children. And this is how Joe Biden interacts with children. Okay?
And then we're going to have...
There you go.
Got it? Okay.
And the people in the back, you can spread out.
Oh my God. Get away from the girl, sir. Get away from the child, sir. Look at that.
Welcome to the front row. Do you remember what I told you?
Smile.
No, not smile.
That's inappropriate.
No, until you're 30. Hey, Andrew, how old are you? You're 12. What's your name?
He's like 12.
The problem is, you know, you guys, you got a hard time. All right, sister. I like kids better than people.
He likes kids better than people. They're not even people to him. Get your hands off the child, sir.
That's nice of you.
No, I'm not saying. He knows. Do you know what my dad used to say? His granddaughters have one important job.
Yeah. So when it comes to Joe Biden versus Donald Trump, those are the only things you really need to know, right? And America is waking up to this, guys, right? Okay, we have Trump leading nationally. Trump up by 6 in Texas. So Trump's lead in a lot of these states has slipped by he's lost about a third of his lead in not every state. Like in Pennsylvania, he's still ahead. He's gaining. Wisconsin, he's back in the lead, right? By half a point. Georgia, he's only leading by 4.8% right now. In Nevada, he's still up by 3.7. Arizona, Trump by 4.6, right? Missouri, Trump's just killing it, right? 13%. Michigan, Trump is up by 0.6%. In Minnesota, Biden is only ahead by 2%. You could see Maine, Minnesota, Virginia go to Donald Trump during this election, guys. So, in New York, Biden is only up by 7%. That's a state he won by 20-something points. Guys, he's only up by 7, right? Pennsylvania, Trump's lead is basically the same. 2.2. It's down just a tiny little bit, actually. Biden in New Mexico, only 7%. That's another state he won by double digits. I don't remember how much, but it was more than 10 points, right? I'm pretty sure about that. Trump by 6 in Florida. That's a little less, I think, than he did. No, that's more than he did in 2020. North Carolina, Trump, 4.8. Yeah, so that's a state I think that Joe Biden did well or should be doing well in, but he's not, right? Maine, and this is where it gets interesting. Maine, Trump is up by 1%, right? They just crashed Rumble. What do you mean? What do you mean they just crashed Rumble? Okay, well, I'll wait till I get more information on that. And then, Ohio, of course, and there's no reason why Trump wouldn't be ahead. South Dakota, Trump's way ahead. Tennessee, Trump's way ahead. And this is what, that's what everyone's saying, toxic masculinity. And now it's at the point where 270 to win calculates that Donald Trump will win the election. 277 to 261, right? But that's not with Nevada, right? Nevada, I mean, Arizona, Utah, Nevada, right? Trump's winning in these states, right? Yeah. Maine, right? These are their own polls, right? Now you're looking 297 to 241, and it's a landslide, right? A landslide for Donald Trump, guys. So this is going to be very interesting. This is going to be a very interesting race, right? Now we have a few more minutes before the debate starts. What are you guys saying? Trump would win every state if the baddies weren't the ones counting the votes. Yeah. It's not about who wins, it's about who counts the votes. I know that. So why is Rumble down, guys? What do we know about that? Congress won't certify a Trump victory in any case. Yeah, well, I mean, if they don't, then they violated their own laws that they just passed, which made it so that Congress has to certify the electors sent by the state or whatever. Yeah, it's not who votes that counts. It's who counts the votes. Exactly. Yeah, they're going to... The most likely thing, I mean, I'm not going to say it's the most likely, but the smart money favorite is that they shoot Trump in the back of the head twice. Is that Trump dies by a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the back of the head. That's the smart money on how this ends. Right? Because they can't let Trump in because they're all going to go to jail. Right? Like, they can't let the Republicans take power again because then the whole fucking thing, the whole game is over, right? They are the ones that started throw your enemy in jail kind of bullshit here in this country, right? They are the ones that have unleashed the power of lawfare in politics, right? So now that they've given the tit, now comes the tat, right? The tit has been served, now the tat must come, right? For every push against, there's a push back, right? For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And now comes time for the pushback, America, right? And I know everybody is sick of all the bullshit and the partisan bullshit and the divisiveness in this country. Hey, what's up, Ash? Yes, I am. It's my right as an American to hold accountable our leaders. We're going to be fact-checking Joe Biden because CNN will be doing a great job to fact-check Donald Trump. Yes, so there's going to be while we're waiting for the debate to start here, let me make sure that we are still live. We are not. All right, while we're waiting for the debates to start, we all know that the Supreme Court just passed a ruling or whatever they do there. And that ruling decided that the government can entice social media companies to censor speech online. This is very troubling because, as you guys know, I'm building a free speech platform. Okay, here we go. Yeah, and that's going to be something that bites me in the ass, guys.
Biden and former President Trump face off in the first debate of the general election, the two meeting for the first time since 2020. They will outline their contrasting visions for America. This is also a chance for
it's going to be
you,
impossible
the
for me to
voters,
censor
judge the
Bubble,
candidates
my Bubble
in
network.
one of the only face-to-face confrontations before the election. Our CBS
Yeah, what a
News
scam.
team will be back.
You guys
after
remember when we used to get 3 debates? You guys remember when that used to be a thing? You get 3 debates, but not anymore.
Debate for analysis.
Oh, Ash. Yes. I'm actually, yeah, I've been making a lot of progress. And we're going to have a test version very soon.
And fact-checking now to
I'm
Atlanta
hoping
for the
within
first
10
presidential
days,
debate
but I can't
hosted
promise
by
that.
CNN.
Definitely by the 19th.
Each will make his case to the American people with
Very
just
soon,
over
brother.
4 months until Election Day.
Actually,
Good
we'll
evening,
talk
I'm
more
Dana
about that
Bash,
at the end of the
anchor
show.
CNN's Inside Politics and co-anchor of State of the Union.
I'm Jake Tapper, anchor of CNN's The Lead and
Fuck you,
co-anchor
Jake
of State
Tapper.
of the Union. Dana and I will
Hold on, we can
co-moderate
skip
this
ahead.
evening. Our job is to facilitate a debate between the two candidates tonight. Before we introduce them, we want to side.
When it's time for a candidate to speak, his microphone will be turned
Okay,
on.
yeah, we've already gone
and his
over the
opponent's
rules.
microphone will be turned off. Should a candidate interrupt when his
Now,
microphone is muted,
President Trump, are you ready to do all the fact-checking on Joe Biden, sir?
At the end of the debate, each candidate
Oh
will
yes,
get 2
Space.
minutes
I'm
for closing
totally
statements.
ready. You know
There is no
that
studio
they're
audience
not going to
tonight.
give me a
Pre-written
chance
notes,
to speak,
props, or
and so
contact
I'm
with
great. I'm
campaign
very
staff
grateful
are
of
not
you,
permitted
Space,
during the debate.
giving me a
By
chance to set
accepting
the
our
record straight here
invitation to
tonight.
debate both candidates and their campaigns.
Thank you, Mr.
agreed
President.
to
I'm very
accept
grateful
these rules.
that you've taken on
Now,
this
please welcome
fight,
the
sir.
46th President of the United States, Joe Biden.
Folks, how are you? Great to be here. Thank you.
She's married to a lying spy master.
And please welcome the 45th President
Hey,
of the United
Joe
States.
Biden looks confused
Donald Trump.
already. Looks like he's having an old man moment already.
Gentlemen,
Okay, I will, Ash.
let's begin the debate, and let's start with the issue that voters consistently say is their top concern, the economy. President Biden, inflation has slowed, but prices remain high. Since you took office, the price of essentials has increased. For example, a basket of groceries that cost $100 then now costs more than $120. And typical
That's
home prices
bullshit.
have jumped more than 30%. What do you say to voters who feel they are worse off under your presidency than they
Maybe, I don't know how, if they're using CPI numbers, maybe, I don't know. But food costs have more than doubled, in my opinion.
were under President Trump?
We got to take a look at what I was left when I became president and what Mr. Trump left me. We had
Oh my God. Listen to Joe Biden. Listen to him. He already sounds like he's having a rough time. Yeah, it's not going to be a good night for Joe Biden, guys. I think we got this in the bag.
an economy that was in free fall. The pandemic was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he said was, it's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach into your arm. You'll be all right.
Joe, that is an absolute lie. Donald Trump never told anyone to inject bleach. He asked if it was possible. He asked his team of doctors if it was possible to inject a disinfectant inside the body, like the kind that kills the germs outside the body. It's not his fault. He's not a doctor.
The economy collapsed. There were no jobs. Unemployment rate.
That is because of left-wing Democrat cities making it so that nobody could work.
Rose to 15%. It was terrible. And so what we had to do is try to put things back together again. And that's exactly what we began to do. We created 15,000 new jobs. We brought...
He created 15,000. He meant to say 15 million. And As it goes, that is not true, Mr. President. Okay, Mr. Trump. All right, Biden continues to baselessly claim that he has created 15 million jobs. He never created no 15 million jobs. Clearly, he still has no idea about the difference between a job recovered and a job created. Or he is simply choosing to lie. Yes, sir, that is absolutely correct. Joe Biden has maybe created 5 million jobs. That's like 1.5 million jobs a year. That's nothing to brag about.
Brought out in the position where we have,
and most of those have been in government and healthcare.
But there's more to be done. There's more to be done. Working class people are still in trouble. I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I come of a household where the kitchen table, if the things weren't able to be met during the month, it was a problem.
Williamton's prodigal son from Scranton, Pennsylvania.
The price of gas, the price of housing, the price of a whole range of things. That's why I'm working so hard to make sure I deal with those problems. And we're going to make sure that we reduce the price of housing. We're going to make sure we build 2 million.
God, it sounds like he's about to die right now.
New units. We're going to make sure we cap rents so corporate greed can't take over. The combination.
It's corporate greed. It's not your inflation.
Problem right now. In addition to that, we're in a situation where.
Yeah, he is exactly, Jets. He's a mess already, guys.
His administration, he didn't do much at all. By the time he left, things were in chaos, literally chaos. And so we put things back together. We created, I said, those jobs. We make sure we had a situation where we brought down the price of prescription drugs, which is a major issue for many people, to $15 for a insulin shot as opposed to $400. No senior has to pay more than $200 for any drug, all the drugs they can include beginning next year. In a situation and we're going to make that
He's out of breath.
To all Americans. So we're working to bring down the price around the kitchen table, and that's what we're going to get done.
Thank you. President Trump?
We have the greatest economy in the history of our country.
Holy Harlot says the drugs will level out.
Done so well. Everybody was amazed by it. Other countries were copying us. We got hit with COVID, and when we did, we spent the money necessary so we wouldn't end up in a Great Depression, the likes of which we had in 1929. By the time we finished, so we did a great job. We got a lot of credit for the economy, a lot of credit for the military, and no wars, and so many other things. Everything was rocking good. But the thing we never got the credit for, and we should have, is getting us out of that COVID mess. He created mandates that was a disaster for our country. But other than that, we had given them back a country where the stock market actually was higher than pre-COVID, and nobody thought that was even possible.
Yeah, he's right about that.
The only jobs he created are for illegal immigrants and bounce-back jobs, the bounce-back from the COVID. He has not done a good job. He's done a poor job, and inflation's killing our country. It is absolutely killing us.
Thank you. President Biden?
Well, look, the greatest economy in the world. He's the only one who thinks that, I think. I don't know anybody else who thinks he had the greatest economy in the world.
Everyone that's ever looked at the question.
And, the fact of the matter is that we found ourselves in a situation where his economy, he rewarded the wealthy. He had the largest tax cut in American history.
He rewarded the wealthy, for creating jobs and wealth. Yeah, he let them make more money. Wow, what a bastard.
$2 trillion. He raised a deficit larger than any president has in any one term. He's the only president other than Herbert Hoover who's lost more jobs than he had when he began, since Herbert Hoover. The idea that he did something that was
the pandemic lost those jobs.
When he was president.
Right. He wants to blame Donald Trump for the pandemic and take all fucking responsibility for the post-pandemic boom, right? Like, that boom is a paper boom, guys. It's a paper boom because it's just going back to normal after the fucking pandemic, right?
He's still killing people in Afghanistan. He didn't do anything about that.
That's a goddamn lie, guys. Joe Biden lost troops in Afghanistan. Joe Biden has lost troops in the Gulf of Aden. Joe Biden has lost American troops in Jordan, which they're not even supposed to be in.
Trump, I want to follow up.
He's a liar.
Am I allowed to respond to him?
Well, I'm going to ask you a follow-up. You can do whatever you want with the minute that we give you. I want to follow up. You want to impose a 10% tariff on all goods coming into the U.S. How will you ensure that that doesn't drive prices even higher?
It's not going to drive them higher. It's just going to cause countries that have been ripping us off for years, like China and many others, in all fairness to China, it's going to just force them to pay us a lot of money, reduce our deficit tremendously, and give us a lot of power for other things. But he made a statement. The only thing he was right about is I gave you the largest tax cut in history. I also gave you the largest regulation cut in history. That's why we had all the jobs. And the jobs went down, and then they bounced back, and he's taking credit for bounce back jobs. You can't do that. He also said he inherited 9% inflation. No, he inherited almost no inflation, and it stayed that way for 14 months. And then it blew up under his leadership because they spent money like a bunch of people that didn't know what they were doing. And they don't know what they were doing. It was the worst, probably the worst administration in history. There's never been. And as far as Afghanistan is concerned, I was getting out of Afghanistan, but we were getting out with dignity, with strength, with power. He got out. It was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country's life.
President Trump, over the last 8 years, under both of your administrations,
Joe Biden looks lost as fuck. Hold on.
The history of our country's
hold on, look
life.
at Joe Biden.
President Trump, over the
look at him.
Last 8 years, under both of your administrations, the national debt soared to record highs. And according to a new nonpartisan analysis, President Trump, your administration approved $8.4 trillion in new debt, while so far, President Biden, you've approved $4.3 trillion.
I've been there before.
So former President Trump, many of the tax...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've been there before when the drugs are kicking in, and you're like, oh, my God. Why did I take all these drugs before I had to do this important thing?
Cuts that you signed into law are set to expire next year. You want to extend them and go even further, you say. With the U.S. facing trillion-dollar deficits and record debt, why should top earners and corporations pay even less in taxes than they do now?
Because the tax cuts spurred the greatest economy that we've ever seen just prior to COVID. And even after COVID, it was so strong that we were able to get through COVID much better than just about any other country. But we spurred, that tax spurred. Now, when we cut the taxes, as an example, the corporate tax was cut down to 21% from 39%, plus beyond that. We took in more revenue with much less tax.
Yeah, and this was actually, this idea was proven by a Democrat named John Kennedy. And we all know what happened to him. Yeah, when you cut taxes, you actually increase tax revenue because corporations are able to spend more money in the economy, right?
And companies were bringing back trillions of dollars back into our country.
I know it seems counterintuitive, but it's
like
actually,
before.
that's
and
how it works.
We're ready to start paying down debt. We're ready to start using the liquid gold right under our feet, the oil and gas right under our feet. We were going to have something that nobody else has had. We got hit with COVID. We did a lot to fix it. I gave him an unbelievable situation with all of the therapeutics and all of the things that we came up with. We gave him something great. Remember, more people died under his administration, even though we had largely fixed it. More people died under his administration than our administration, and we were right in the middle of it, something which a lot of people don't like to talk about. But he had far more people dying in his administration. He did the mandate, which is a disaster, mandating it. The vaccine went out. He did a mandate on the vaccine, which is the thing that people most objected to about the vaccine. And he did a very poor job, just a very poor job. And
it's literally what made me not take the vaccine.
I will tell you, not only poor there, but throughout the entire world, we're no longer respected as a country. They don't respect our leadership. They don't respect the United States anymore. We're like a third world.
Literally every question is attack Trump. Yeah, that's true.
They don't respect our leadership. They don't respect the United States anymore. We're like a third world nation between weaponization of his election, trying to go after his political opponent. All of the things he's done, we've become like a third world nation, and it's a shame.
A banana
the
republic.
Damage he's done.
We're not even a banana republic. We're a debt republic.
Done to our country, and I'd love to ask him, and will, why he allowed millions of people to come in here from prisons, jails, and mental institutions to come into our country and destroy our country.
President Trump, we will get to immigration later in this block. President Biden, I want to give you an opportunity to respond to this question about the national debt.
He had the largest national debt of any president in a 4-year period, number one. Number two.
No. You're on record actually to have more national debt than Trump did, right? You're borrowing like $1.5 trillion a year, sir.
That $2 trillion tax cut benefited the very wealthy. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. I mean, billionaires in America. And what's happening?
There's 1,000 trillionaires in America, guys. This fucking guy.
We're in a situation where they, in fact, pay 8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24%, 25%, either one of those numbers, they'd raise $500 billion, I should say, in a 10-year period. We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our health care system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the...
Trump looks great.
Excuse me, with...
Joe Biden is a fumbling, stumbling moron. All Trump has to do is keep us cool, guys. You're right. I agree. Trump looks great. Trump is looking like he's going to be winning. Yeah. Good job, SpaysE. What did I do?
Dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare.
Yeah, Joe Biden just had a brain fart. He just had a senior moment. Let's watch again, guys.
We finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Hold on.
Strengthen our
Here we go.
healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden.
They finally beat Medicare? I think what he meant to say is we finally beat Big Pharma, right? But, yeah. No, we finally beat Medicare, guys. Finally, someone took Medicare out behind the woodshed.
Biden, President Trump?
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare.
That's what I said, Mr. President. Me and him, that's why I love this guy. We always think the same thing. Hold on.
Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying
that's what
Medicare.
I said.
Because all of these people are coming in. They're putting them on Medicare. They're putting them on Social Security. They're going to destroy Social Security. This man is going to single-handedly destroy Social Security. These millions and millions of people coming in, they're trying to put them on Social Security. He will wipe out Social Security. He will wipe out Medicare. So he was right in the way he finished that sentence. And it's a shame what's happened to our country.
Oh, my God.
In the last 4 years.
God, Trump is just killing him.
Is
He's
not to be believed. Foreign countries, I'm friends with a lot of people. They cannot believe what happened to the United States.
He's already dead.
They don't
He's
like us.
already
We
dead.
give them everything they want, and they think we're stupid. They think we're very stupid people. What we're doing for other countries, and they do nothing for us. What this man has done is absolutely criminal.
Thank you, President Trump. Dana?
This is the first presidential election since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. This morning, the court ruled
nobody
on yet
gives a
another
shit about your
abortion
fucking
case,
dead fetuses.
temporarily allowing emergency abortions to continue in Idaho, despite that state's restrictive ban. Former President Trump, you take credit for the decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, which returned the issue of abortion to the states.
Correct.
However,
Mr. President, you want to say something? Yeah, SpaysE. I just want to say, I beat that boy within an inch of his life right there, SpaysE. It's amazing. It's amazing that he's still standing after that 10-hit combo, as Freddie Sodium put it. I love you, Freddie Sodium. Yes, it's amazing. He's still standing there, sir. You did. You put baby in the corner, so to speak, sir. Yeah, I did, Space, and it's and stay tuned. There's more coming. That's one thing I'm absolutely sure of, sir. All right, let's go back to the debate.
The federal government still plays a role in whether or not women have access to abortion pills. They're used in about 2/3 of all abortions. As president, would you block abortion medication?
First of all, the Supreme Court just approved the abortion pill, and I agree with their decision to have done that, and I will not block it. And if you look at this whole question that you're asking, complex but not really complex. 51 years ago, you had Roe v. Wade, and everybody wanted to get it back to the states. Everybody, without exception. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives.
Yeah, that's a good
everybody
idea.
wanted it back.
I agree. It was always a states' rights issue, and it should have never been a federal thing.
And what I did is I put 3 great Supreme Court justices on the court, and they happened to vote in favor of killing Roe v. Wade and moving
And not a one of them was chosen because of who they have sex with or what they look like.
it back to the states. This is something that everybody wanted. Now, 10 years ago or so, they started talking about how many weeks and how many this, and getting into other things. But every legal scholar throughout the world, the most respected, wanted it brought back to the states. I did that. Now the states are working it out. If you look at Ohio, it was a decision that was an end result that was a little bit more liberal than you would have thought. Kansas, I would say the same thing. Texas is different. Florida is different. But they're all making their own decisions right now. And right now, the states control it. That's the vote of the people. Like Ronald Reagan, I believe in the exceptions. I am a person that believes. And frankly, I think it's important to believe in the exceptions. Some people, you have to follow your heart. Some people don't believe in that. But I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. I think it's very important. Some people don't. Follow your heart. But you have to get elected also. And because that has to do with
about
other
Amy
things.
Coney
You gotta get
Barrett? I
elected.
like her.
The problem they have
I
is they're
like,
radical because
ACB.
they will take the life of a child in
ACB
the
all the
8th
way.
month, the 9th month, and even after birth. After birth, if you look at the former governor of Virginia, he was willing to do this. He said, we'll put the baby aside and we'll determine what we do with the baby, meaning we'll kill the baby.
Yep.
What happened is we
I
brought
remember
it
that.
back to the states, and the country is now coming together on this issue. It's been a great thing.
Thank you. President Biden?
It's been a terrible thing, what you've done. The fact is that the vast majority of constitutional scholars supported Roe.
Well, the terrible thing is that you're up here trying to justify your right to rule us, and you can barely stand. You're so in such discomfort right now. Like you can see it on your face, sir. Right? Like that's what's sad.
When
here.
it was decided, supported Roe. And that's this idea that they're all against it is just ridiculous. And this is the guy who says the state should be able to have it. We're in a state where in 6 weeks, you don't even know whether you're pregnant or not, but you cannot see a doctor and have him decide on
What the fuck are you
your
talking about?
circumstances are, whether you need help. The idea
Grandpa
that states are
forgot
able
to
do
take
this
his
is a little
pills
like saying,
again.
We're going to turn civil rights back to the states. Let each state have a different rule. Look, there's so many young women who have been, including a young woman who just was murdered, and he went to the funeral. The idea that she was murdered by
What
by
the
an
fuck
immigrant.
is this old bat on about? Seriously. I don't know. What is he talking about? What is he talking about? He's lost it. He's lost it, y'all.
They talk about that, but here's the deal: there's a lot of
Here's
young
the
women
deal.
who are being raped by their in-laws, by
What?
their spouses.
They're gonna get raped by their in-laws, guys. Oh my god. Oh my god. We gotta go back. Listen to this.
An immigrant coming in. They talk about that, but here's the deal: there's a lot of young women who are being raped by their in-laws, by their spouses, brothers and sisters. It's just ridiculous. And they can do nothing about it, and they try to arrest them when they cross state lines.
Thank you.
What? What the fuck just happened? What the fuck just happened? Oh my god. Oh my god. And now, here comes the president for the knockout punch. Please go easy on him, sir. I got him on the ropes there, Space. I'm just going to go in. I'm just going to give him a nice right cross, and I'm going to put him to sleep. Sleepy Joe, right? Yeah, that's absolutely true, sir. All right. Here comes the knockout blow.
There have been many young women murdered by the same people he allows to come across our border. We have a border that's the most dangerous place anywhere in the world, considered the most dangerous place anywhere in the world. And he opened it up, and these killers are coming into our country.
Guys.
And they are raping and killing women. And it's a terrible thing. As far as the abortion's concerned, it is now back with the states. The states are voting. In many cases, it's frankly a very liberal decision. In many cases, it's the opposite. But they're voting, and it's bringing it back to the vote of the people, which is what everybody wanted, including the founders, if they knew about this issue, which, frankly, they didn't. But they would have. Everybody wanted brought back. Ronald Reagan wanted it brought back. He wasn't able to get it. Everybody wanted it brought back, and many presidents had tried to get it back. I was the one to do it. And again, this
awesome
gives it the vote of the people, and that's where they wanted it. Every legal scholar wanted it that way.
That's how it should be. That's how the Constitution is framed.
Staying on the topic of abortion, President Biden, 7 states, I'll let you do that. This is the same topic. 7 states have no legal restrictions on how far into a pregnancy a woman can obtain an abortion.
And if they want to do that, that's their right, right? That's the beauty of living in a union of independent states, right? Is that if you don't like the rules here, move to a different state.
Do you support any legal limits on how late a woman should be able to terminate a pregnancy?
I support Roe v. Wade, which had 3 trimesters. First time is between the woman and the doctor. Second time is between the doctor and an extreme situation. The third time is between the doctor, between the woman and the state.
What's he talking about?
That the politicians, that the founders wanted the politicians.
What the fuck is this guy talking about? We'll be fair. Let's go back to what he said.
Between the woman and the doctor. Second time is between the doctor and an extreme situation.
The second time what? The second time you have an abortion?
The doctor, between the woman and the state. The idea that the politicians, that the founders wanted the politicians to be the ones making decisions about women's health is ridiculous. That's the last. No politician should be making that decision. A doctor should be making those decisions. That's how it should be run.
A doctor should have made a decision about you doing this debate tonight, sir. I don't know what the fuck this old fool is on about.
That's what you're going to do. And if I'm elected, I'm going to restore Roe v. Wade.
So that means he can take...
You can't. You can't. It's unconstitutional, you fucking moron.
Take the life of the baby in the 9th month and even after birth, because some states, Democrat run, take it after birth. Again, the former governor of Virginia, put the baby down, then we decide what to do with it. So he's willing to, as we say, rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and kill the baby. Nobody wants that to happen, Democrat or Republican. Nobody wants it to happen.
You're lying. That is simply not true. The Roe v. Wade does not provide for that. That's not the circumstance. Only if a woman's life is in danger, she's going to die. That's the only circumstance in which that can happen. But we are not for late-term abortion, period.
Under Roe v. Wade, you have late-term abortion. You can do whatever you want, depending on the state. You can do whatever you want. We don't think that's a good thing. We think it's a radical thing. We think the Democrats are the radicals, not the Republicans.
For 51 years.
Yeah, dude is jumping around like me when I'm drunk and high.
The right way to go. 51 years, and it was taken away because this guy put very conservative members on the Supreme Court. He takes credit for taking it away. What's he going to do? What's he going to do, in fact, if the MAGA Republicans, he gets elected, and the MAGA Republicans control the Congress?
He's going to do lots of things. First of all, he's going to put you in jail.
They pass a universal ban on abortion, period, across the board at 6 weeks or 7 or 8 or 10 weeks, something very, very conservative. Is he going to sign that bill? I'll veto it. He'll sign it.
Thank you.
Let's turn now to the issue of immigration and border security. President Biden, a record number of migrants have illegally crossed the southern border on your watch. Overwhelming border states and overburdening cities such as New York and Chicago.
I can't believe they're actually going to ask him about the
border. Security concerns. Given that, why should voters trust you to solve this crisis?
Because we worked very hard to get a bipartisan agreement that not only changed all of that, it made sure that we are in a situation where you had no circumstance where they could come across the border with the number of border police there are now. We significantly increased the number of asylum officers. By the way, the Border Patrol endorsed my position. In addition to that, we found ourselves in a situation where when he was president, he was separating babies from their mothers, putting them in cages, making sure they were...
Yeah, and I'm just sniffing them. That's all. I'm doing. And then I just sniff them.
And then the families were separated. That's not the right way to go. What I've done since I've changed the law, what's happened? I've changed it in a way that now you're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally.
Fact check false.
It's better than when he left office. And I'm going to continue.
There's like 1,000% more people coming across the border than during when Donald Trump was in office. He's absolutely lying to you right now.
On the total initiative to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he...
Oh, fucking Trump with the zinger. Oh, let's hear it again.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look, we had the safest border in the history of our country. The border, all he had to do was leave it. All he had to do was leave it. He decided to open up our border, open up our country to people that are from prisons, people that are from mental institutions, insane asylum, terrorists. We have the largest number of terrorists coming into our country right now, all terrorists, all over the world, not just in South America, all over the world. They come from the Middle East, everywhere. All over the world, they're pouring in. And this guy just left it open. And he didn't need legislation because I didn't have legislation. I said, close the border. We had the safest border in history. In that final couple of months of my presidency, we had, according to Border Patrol, who is great, and by the way, who endorsed me for president, but I won't say that, but they endorsed me for president. Brandon, just speak to him. But look, we had the safest border in history. Now we have the worst border in history. There's never been anything like it. And people are dying all over the place, including the people that are coming up in caravans.
Thank you, President Trump. President.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was awesome. He's like, I have no idea what he just said. Oh, man. Finally, someone else who thinks like me. Oh, this is great.
President Biden?
The only terrorist who's done anything crossing the border is one who came along and killed three, under his administration, killed an Al-Qaeda person come in and his administration.
What? Yeah, Space. It's totally clear that Joe Biden has no idea what is going on. He can't even hold together a sentence. He can't even hold together a sentence. I mean, what more can I say? You guys see, I'm cool, I'm calm, I'm confident, I'm collected, I'm coming with the facts, right? Right? This fucking idiot over here, he can't even put two words together, Space. It's sad. It's truly sad, Space. It's bad for our country. It's bad for our image worldwide. Yeah, Mr. President. It is terrible. It is terrible, sir. All right, let's keep it going, guys.
Kill three American soldiers. That's the only terrorist that's there. I'm not saying that no terrorist ever got through, but the idea they're emptying their prisons.
Trump's like, what the hell is this nigga talking about?
No data to support what he said. Once again, he's exaggerating. He's lying.
President Trump, staying on the topic of immigration, you've said that you're going to carry out, quote, the largest domestic deportation operation in American history, unquote. Does that mean that you will deport every undocumented immigrant in America,
yes,
including those who...
Yes, I did steal Andrew's what? Yes, I did do that. I stole that from Andrew at Run, Don't Walk. You're absolutely correct.
Who have jobs, including those whose
spouses
are
I stole it from
citizens,
him. It's just I watch all
those
this
who have lived here for
so
decades.
it kind of
and
rubs
if
off
so,
on me.
How will you do it?
Just 1 second. He said we killed three people. The people we killed are al-Baghdadi and Soleimani. the two greatest terrorists, biggest terrorists anywhere in the world. And it had a huge impact on everything, not just border, on everything.
He's Gran Torino Biden. Yes.
He's the one that killed people with the bad water, including hundreds of thousands of people dying and also killing our citizens when they come in. We are living right now in a rat's nest. They're killing our people in New York, in California, in every state in the union because we don't have borders anymore. Every state is now a border. And because of his ridiculous,
a million Ukrainians are dead.
and very stupid policies, people are coming in and they're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen. We call it migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. They're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen before. And you're reading it like these three incredible young girls over the last few days. One of them, I just spoke to the mother, and they just had the funeral for this girl, 12 years old. This is horrible what's taken place. What's taken place in our country, we're literally an uncivilized country now. He doesn't want it to be. He just doesn't know. He opened the borders. Nobody's ever seen anything like. And we have to get a lot of these people out, and we have to get them out fast because they're going to destroy our country. Just take a look at where they're living. They're living in luxury hotels in New York City and other places.
In L.A., they just built them a $300 million skyrise. $300 million homeless people's skyrise, right? Over $1 million per homeless person.
Our veterans are on the street. They're dying because he doesn't care about our veterans. He doesn't care. He doesn't like the military at all. And he doesn't
Unless
care
they're
about
gay
our
and
veterans.
trans.
Nobody been worse. I had the highest approval rating for veterans taking care of the VA. He has the worst. He's gotten rid of all the things that I approved. Choice that I got through Congress.
You think Joe's beating expectations? No, this is the worst that Joe Biden could have possibly done. Like, this is the worst thing that could have happened for Joe.
All of the different things I approved, they abandoned. We had by far the highest, and now it's down in less than half because he's done all these great
Trump
things
is
that we
killing
did.
it.
And I think he did it just because I approved it, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But he has killed so many.
Yeah, that's a part of it too, yes. Is that he undid the good things that Trump did, right? Right? And that's what caused a lot of the problems in the beginning of Biden's presidency, is he was just undoing things just because Trump did them, and some of them were really, really good.
Many people at our border by allowing all of these people to come in. And it's a very sad day in America.
President Biden, you have the mic.
Every single thing he said is a lie. Every single one.
No, everything you say is a lie, sir.
For example, veterans are a hell of a lot better off since I passed the PACT Act. 1 million of them now have insurance, and their families have it. Their families have it because what happened.
All veterans have insurance. What the fuck are you talking about, dude? That's one of the reasons you become a veteran, is to have free health insurance for the rest of your life.
Whether it was Agent Orange or burn pits, they're all being
thank you,
covered now.
Jets.
And he opposed, his group opposed that. We're also in a situation where we have great respect for veterans. My son spent a year in Iraq, living right next to one of those burn.
And your other son was thrown out of the Navy for doing cocaine on a fucking aircraft carrier.
Pits came back with stage 4 glioblastoma. I was recently in France for D-Day, and I spoke all about those heroes that died. I went to the World War II cemetery, World War I cemetery he refused to go to. He was standing with his 4-star general, and he told me, he said, I don't want to go in there because they're a bunch of losers and suckers. My son was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
President Trump?
No, you are the loser, Joe
First
Biden.
of all, that was a made-up quote, suckers and losers. They made it up. It was in a third-rate magazine that's failing, like many of these magazines. He made that up. He put it in commercials. We've notified him. We had 19 people that said I didn't say it. And think of this. Who would say I'm at a cemetery or I'm talking about our veterans? Because nobody's taking better care. I'm so glad this came up, and he brought it up. There's nobody that's taken better care of our soldiers than I have. To think that I would, in front of generals and others, say suckers and losers. We have 19 people that said it was never said by me. It was made up by him, just like Russia was made up, just like the 51 intelligence agents are made up.
Spies
just
who
like
lie.
The thing with the 16 economists are talking.
What up, Anonymous, baby?
51 intelligence agents said that the laptop was Russia disinformation. It wasn't. That came from his son, Hunter.
We're behind.
It
We're
wasn't
behind,
Russia
holy harlot.
disinformation. He made up the
pausing
suckers
it.
and losers, so he should apologize to me right now.
4-star general standing to your side who was on your staff who said you said it, period. That's number one. And number two, the idea.
Okay, so they were going to make Trump lose his temper, but it looks like Joe Biden, his plan has backfired, and now Joe is coming across as the angry old man yelling at a cloud. Let's go.
Yeah, the idea that I have to apologize to you for anything along the line. We've done more for veterans than any president has in American history. And they now are in their family. The only sacred obligation we have as a country is to care for our veterans when they come home and their families and equip them when they go to war. That's what we're doing. That's what the VA is doing now. They're doing more for veterans than ever before in our history.
All right, thank you so much.
Let's move to the topic of foreign policy. I want to begin with Russia's war against Ukraine, which is now in its third year. Former President Trump, Russian President Vladimir Putin says he'll only end this war if Russia keeps the Ukrainian territory it has already claimed and Ukraine abandons.
Those people voted to be Russians.
Magazines. He made that up.
Oh, what happened? Oh, I did something wrong. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Something happened. Hold on.
When he began, since Herbert Hoover.
Oh, sorry.
The idea that he did something that was the people in Afghanistan.
Nobody else has had. We got hit with COVID. We were to fix it. The damage he's done to here.
Sorry about that, guys. We got fucked up a little bit here.
From the Middle East, everywhere, all over the world. Because
America, including those who have jobs, including those whose spouses are citizens, and including those who have lived in those.
Now we're too far ahead.
Not the right way to go. What I've done since I've changed the law, what's happened? I've changed it in a way that now you're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the total.
No, we gotta go further.
People to come in.
President Biden.
One. And your side was on your staff who's. Yeah.
Its bid to join NATO.
Here we go.
Are Putin's terms acceptable to you?
First of all, our veterans and our soldiers can't stand this guy.
Yeah,
they can't stand him. They think he's the worst commander-in-chief, if that's what you call him, that we've ever had. They can't stand him. So let's get that straight.
He is the worst.
And they like me more than just about any of them. And that's based on every single bit of information. As far as Russia and Ukraine, if we had a real president, a president that knew, that was respected by Putin, he would have never invaded Ukraine. A lot of people are dead right now, much more than people know. You know, they talk about numbers. You can double those numbers, maybe triple those numbers. He did nothing to stop it. In fact, I think he encouraged Russia from going in. I'll tell you what happened. He was so bad with Afghanistan. It was such a horrible embarrassment, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, that when Putin watched that and he saw the incompetence, that he should have fired those generals, like I fired the one that you mentioned, and so he's got no love lost, but he should have fired those generals. No general got fired for the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, Afghanistan, where we left billions of dollars of equipment behind. We lost 13 beautiful soldiers, and 38 soldiers were obliterated. And by the way, we left people behind, too. We left American citizens behind. When Putin saw that, he said, you know what? I think we're going to go in and maybe take this was his dream. I talked to him about it, his dream. The difference is he never would have invaded Ukraine, never. Just like Israel would have never been invaded in a million years by Hamas. You know why? Because Iran was broke with me. I wouldn't let anybody do business with them. They ran out of money. They were broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for anything. No money for terror. That's why you had no terror at all during my administration. This place, the whole world is blowing up under him.
Yeah, that's true.
President Biden?
We've said that before.
So much malarkey in my whole life. Look, the fact of the matter is that we're in a situation where, let's take the last point first. Iran attacked American troops, caused brain damage.
Yeah, under you, buddy. Under you.
For a number of these troops, and he did nothing about it recently.
There's been more. What was it? How many troops have been injured? 24 more, maybe? Maybe more than 24 troops have been injured under Biden during this Hamas war. More than 3 have been killed, guys.
Not when he was president. They attacked. He said they're just having headaches. That's all it is. He didn't do a thing when the attack took place, number one. Number two, we got over 100,000 Americans.
Las
and
Vegas,
others
San
out
Bernardino.
of Afghanistan during that airlift. Number three, we found ourselves in a situation where if you take a look at what Trump did in Ukraine, this guy told Trump, do whatever you want and do whatever you want. And that's exactly what Trump did.
Trump invaded Ukraine? What is he talking? Did he just say that Putin told Trump to do whatever he wants and Trump invaded Ukraine? What?
In Ukraine, this guy told Trump, do whatever you want and do whatever you want. And that's exactly what Trump did to Putin, encourage him, do whatever you want. And he went in. And listen to what he said when he went in. He was going to take Kyiv in 5 days, remember? Because it's part of the old Soviet Union. That's what he wanted to reestablish, Kyiv. And he, in fact, didn't do it at all.
What the fuck is this guy on about?
And they've lost thousands and thousands of troops, 500,000 troops.
Yeah, that's your fault, Joe. That's your fault. You told Putin that he can invade Ukraine as long as he just invaded it a little bit. Like, that's what you said, Joe. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck is Joe Biden talking about?
I never said that. For 1 minute, I just want to go back
to
my original question, which is, are Putin's terms acceptable to you? Keeping the territory in Ukraine?
No, they're not.
They're acceptable to me.
But look, this is a war that never should have started. If we had a leader in this war, he led everybody along. He's given $200 billion now or more to Ukraine. He's given $200 billion. That's a lot of money. I don't think there's ever been anything like it.
Yeah, only like $50 billion has gone actually to the war.
He walks away with $60 billion. He's the greatest salesman ever. And I'm not knocking him. I'm not knocking anything. I'm only saying the money that we're spending on this war, and we shouldn't be spending, it should have never happened. I will have that war settled between Putin and Zelensky as president-elect before I take office on January 20th. I'll have that war settled.
That is a bold fucking claim. We're going to hold you to it, Mr. President. You guys heard it here first. Donald Trump will have the war over before he takes office. That's what he just said.
People being killed so needlessly, so stupidly, and I will get it settled.
Hey, what's up,
and
KP?
I'll get it settled fast before I take office.
President Biden, you have a minute.
The fact is that Putin is a war.
I think he can do it. Trump and Putin are good friends. Maybe not good friends, but they have an amicable relationship.
He's killed thousands and thousands of people, and he has made one thing.
Who killed what thousands of people? Putin or Trump? Or you? Is it you? I think it's you.
Clear. He wants to reestablish what was part of the Soviet Empire, not just a piece. He wants all of Ukraine. That's what he wants. And then you think he'll stop there? Do you think he'll stop when if he takes Ukraine? What do you think happens to Poland? What do you think of Belarus? What do you think happens to the
guys? When did Joe Biden turn into Porky Pig? Was I asleep? When did they sub out Joe Biden for Porky Pig tonight?
Those NATO countries. And so if you want a war, you ought to find out what he's going to do, because if in fact he does what he says and walks away. And by the way, all that money we give Ukraine are from weapons we make here in the United States. We give them the weapons, not the money at this point. And our NATO allies have produced as much funding for Ukraine as we have. That's why we're strong.
Thank you. Moving on to the Middle East. In October, Hamas attacked Israel, killing more than 1,000 people and taking hundreds of hostages. Among those held and thought to still be alive are 5 Americans.
You're absolutely right,
Israel's
Ash.
response has killed thousands of Palestinians and
you are
created
absolutely
a
right, brother.
crisis in Gaza. President Biden, you've put...
Ash says the normies are not going to be able to ignore, 1, how Biden looks tonight, and 2, how Biden sounds. You're right. You're right. This is the worst. This is the worst thing that could have happened for Joe Biden.
Forward a proposal to resolve this conflict, but so far Hamas has not released the remaining hostages, and Israel is continuing its military offensive in Gaza. So, what additional leverage will you use to get Hamas and Israel to end the war? You have 2 minutes.
Number one, everyone from the United Nations Security Council.
Oh my God!
through the G-
Oh my God! Oh, he's already dead. Quit it. Just let it. Just end it now. They just needed to end it now.
7 to the Israelis and
You
Netanyahu
expected
himself
worse?
The plan they put forward.
This is the worst we've ever seen him. This is just as bad, at least, as when the invasion of Afghanistan, or when we were leaving Afghanistan and everything went terribly wrong, and he did that press interview, and he just laid his head down on the desk, and it looked like he was crying when Peter Doocy was drilling him, right? This is like as bad as that.
Which is 3.
They messed up on calculating the ratio of uppers to downers on this one, right? This is they messed up the ratio of uppers to downers on poor Joe Biden. They gave him more of a ball than a speed, I think.
Stages to it. The first stage is trade the hostages for a ceasefire. Second phase is
What?
endorse the plan I put forward, which has 3 stages to it. The first stage is trade the hostages for a ceasefire. Second phase is a ceasefire with additional conditions. The third phase is the end of the war. The only one who wants the war to continue is Hamas, number one. They're the only ones standing out. We're still pushing hard to get them to accept. In the meantime, what's happened in Israel, we're finding that the only thing I've denied Israel was 2,000-pound bombs. They don't work very well in populated areas. They kill a lot of innocent people. We're providing
But are they really innocent?
They need and when they need them. And by the way, I'm the guy that organized the world against Iran when they had a full-blown intercontinental ballistic missile attack on Israel. No one was hurt. No one Israeli was accidentally killed, and it just stopped. We saved Israel. We are the biggest.
Trump looks confused now. He can't even follow what this guy's saying.
There are 2 different things. Hamas cannot be allowed to be continued. We continue to send our experts and our intelligence people as to how they can get Hamas like we did bin Laden. You don't have to do it. And by the way, they've been greatly weakened, Hamas, greatly weakened, and they should be. They should be eliminated. But you've got to be careful for using certain weapons among population centers.
Just going back to Ukraine for 1 second. We have an ocean separating us. The European nations together have spent $100 billion, or maybe more than that, less than us. Why doesn't he call them and say, you got to put up your money like I did with NATO? I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. The Secretary General of NATO said Trump did the most incredible job I've ever seen. They wouldn't have any. They were going out of business. We were spending almost 100% of the money was paid by us. He didn't do that. He's getting all. You got to ask these people to put up the money. We're over $100 billion more spent, and it has a bigger impact on them because of location, because we have an ocean in between. You got to ask them. As far as Israel and Hamas, Israel's the one that wants to go. He said the only one that wants to keep going is Hamas. Actually, Israel is the one, and you should let him go and let him finish the job. He doesn't want to do it. He's become like a Palestinian, but they don't like him because he's a very bad Palestinian. He's a weak one.
President Biden, you have a minute.
Okay, that one kind of missed the mark, Mr. President. But we're going to give you a C on that one.
Foolishness. This is a guy who wants to get out of NATO. You're going to stay in NATO? He's going to pull out of NATO. The idea that we have our strength lies in our alliances as well. It may be a big ocean, but we're ever able to avoid a war in Europe, a major war in Europe? What happens if, in fact, you have Putin continue to go into NATO? We have an Article 5 agreement. Attack on one is attack on all. You want to start the nuclear war he keeps talking about, go ahead. Let Putin go in and control Ukraine and then move on to Poland and other places. See what happens then. He has no idea what the hell he's talking about. And by the way, I got 50 other nations around the world to support Ukraine.
Do you lack self-awareness, sir?
And South Korea, because they understand that this kind of dislocation has a serious threat to the whole world peace. No major war in Europe has ever been able to be contained just to Europe.
President Trump, just to follow up, would you support the creation of an independent Palestinian state in order to achieve peace in the region?
Yes.
I'd have to see, but before we do that, the problem we have is
please get them out of Israel.
So they kill us on trade. I made great trade deals with the European nations because if you add them up, they're about the same size economically. Their economy is about the same size as the United States. And they were no cars, no, they don't want anything that we have, but we're supposed to take their cars, their food, their everything, their agriculture. I changed that. But the big thing I changed is they don't want to pay. And the only reason that he can play games with NATO is because I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. I said, and he's right about this, I said, no, I'm not going to support NATO if you don't pay. They asked me that question, would you guard us against Russia at a very secret meeting of the 28 states at that time, nations at that time? And I said, no, if you don't pay, I won't do that. And you know what happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in the next day and the next months. But now we're in the same position. We're paying everybody's bills.
Let's turn to the issue of democracy. Former President Trump, I want to ask you about January 6, 2021. After you rallied your supporters that day, some of them stormed the Capitol to stop the constitutional
Trump is killing
counting of electoral votes. As president, you swore in a...
I mean, Trump's not doing that great, but Biden is doing so terrible. I mean, Trump's not doing badly, but, I mean, he's doing what we all wanted to see. Staying on topic, staying focused, not being a brute, not being an asshole, right?
Oath to, quote, preserve, protect, and defend, unquote, the Constitution. What do you say to voters who believe that you violated that oath?
He's being very nice to Joe Biden right now, actually.
And worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I don't think too many believe that. And let me tell you about January 6th. On January 6th, we had a great border. Nobody coming through, very few. On January 6th, we were energy independent. On January 6th, we had the lowest taxes ever. We had the lowest regulations ever. On January 6th, we were respected all over the world. All over the world, we were respected. And then he comes in, and we're now laughed at. We're like a bunch of stupid people. What happened to the United States' reputation under this man's leadership is horrible, including weaponization, which I'm sure at some point you'll be talking about, where he goes after his political opponent because he can't beat him fair and square.
You have 80 seconds left. My question was, what do you say to those voters who believe that you violated your constitutional oath through your actions and inaction on January 6, 2021, and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I didn't say that to anybody. I said peacefully and patriotically. And Nancy Pelosi, if you just watched the news from 2 days ago, on tape to her daughter, who's a documentary filmmaker, they say, but she's saying, oh, no, it's my responsibility. I was responsible for this. Because I offered her 10,000 soldiers or National Guard, and she turned them down. And the mayor in writing, by the way, the mayor, in writing, turned it down, the mayor of D.C. They turned it down. I offered 10,000 because I could see. I had virtually nothing to do. They asked me to go make a speech. I could see what was happening. Everybody was saying they're going to be there on January 6th. They're going to be there. And I said, you know what? There's a lot of people coming. You could feel it. You could feel it, too, and you could feel it. And I said, they ought to have some National Guard or whatever. And I offered it to her. And she now admits that she turned it down. And it was the same day.
How is it
I don't know. She can't be very happy with her daughter because it made her into a liar. She said, I take full responsibility for January 6th.
President Biden?
Look, he encouraged those folks to go up on Capitol Hill, number one. I sat in the dining room off the Oval Office. He sat there for 3 hours watching, begging, being begged by his vice president and a number of his colleagues on the Republican side as well to do something, to call for a stop, to end it. Instead, they talked about these people being patriots and great patrons of America.
Oh my
In
God.
fact, he says he'll now forgive them for what they've done. They've been convicted. He says he wants to commute their sentences and say that no. But he went to every single court in the nation. I don't know how many cases, scores of cases, including the Supreme Court, and they said no, this guy is responsible for doing what was done. He did do a damn thing.
Talking about?
And these people should be in jail, and they should be the ones who are being held accountable. And he wants to let them all out. And now he says if he loses again, such a whiner that he is, that it could be a bloodbath.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
What they've done to some people that are so innocent, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. What you have done, how you've destroyed the lives of so many people when they ripped down Portland, when they ripped down many other cities. You go to Minnesota, Minneapolis, what they've done there with the fires all over the city. If I didn't bring in the National Guard, that city would have been destroyed. When you look at all of they took over big chunks of Seattle. I was all set to bring in the National Guard. They heard that, they saw them coming, and they left immediately. What he said about this whole subject is so off. Peacefully patriotic. One other thing. The Unselect Committee, which is basically two horrible Republicans that are all gone now, out of office, and Democrats, all Democrats, they destroyed and deleted all of the information they found because they found out we were right. We were right. And they deleted and destroyed all of the information. They should go to jail for that. If a Republican did that, they'd go to jail.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, I want to give you a minute.
The only person on this stage is a convicted felon is the man I'm looking at.
Oh, here we go.
And the fact of the matter is,
why is he a convicted felon? Because you sent your people in to the New York DA's office and trumped up a bunch of charges, pun intended.
It's simply not true. The fact is that there was no effort on his part to stop what was going on up in Capitol Hill. And all those people, every one of those who were convicted, deserves to be convicted. The idea that they didn't kill somebody, just went in and broke down doors, broke the windows, occupied...
Yeah, the only one that got killed was Ashley Babbitt. Isn't that funny? A Navy veteran.
Officers turned over desks, turned them over statues.
American hero. They murdered her.
That those people are patriots? Come on. When I asked him the first two debates we had, first time around, I said, will you denounce the Proud Boys? He said, no, I'll tell them to stand by.
Exactly, Karen.
The idea he's refusing, will you denounce these guys? Will you denounce the people we're talking about now? Will you denounce the people
Joe Biden.
Who attacked that
Let's
Capitol?
go,
What are you going to do?
Brandon.
I'm going to give you a minute, President Trump, for a follow-up question I have. After a jury convicted you of 34 felonies last month, you said if reelected, you would, quote, have every right to go after, unquote, your political opponents. You just talked about members of the Select Committee on January 6th going...
If you tit, we tat. That's how it goes, yes.
...to jail. Your main political
opponent
is standing
so we're going to be tatting
tonight. Can you clarify exactly what it means about you feeling you have every right to go after your political opponents?
Trump should go hard against his political opponent.
My retribution is going to be success. We're going to make this country successful again because right now it's a failing nation. My retribution is going to be success.
By
but when he
arresting
talks
all you
about a
fucking
convicted
criminals.
felon, his son is a convicted felon.
Yeah.
At a very high level. His son is convicted, going to be convicted probably numerous other times. Should have been convicted before, but his Justice Department let the statute of limitations lapse on the most important things. But he could be a convicted felon as soon as he gets out of office. Joe could be a convicted felon with all the things that he's done. He's done horrible things. All of the death caused at the border, telling the Ukrainian people that we're going to want $1 billion or you change the prosecutor. Otherwise, you're not getting $1 billion. If I ever said that, that's quid pro quo. That we're not going to do anything. We're not going to give you $1 billion unless you change your prosecutor having to do with his son. This man is a criminal. This man, you're lucky. You're lucky. I did nothing wrong. We'd have a system that was rigged and disgusting. I did nothing wrong.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, you have
witch
said,
hunt.
I'm coming right to you, sir. You want to respond? Go ahead. I'll give you a minute to respond.
The idea that I did anything wrong relative to what you're talking about is outrageous. It's simply a lie, number one.
Yeah, that's what you said last debate. I have no business with my son. Well, now we know that you do.
Number two, the idea that you have a right to seek retribution against any American just because you're president is wrong. It's
Well,
simply
why
wrong.
is it
No
right for
president's
you, but
ever
wrong
spoken
for
like
him?
that before. No president in our history has spoken like that before.
Except
Number
for you.
three, the crimes that you are still charged with, and think of all the civil penalties you have. How many billions of dollars do you owe in civil penalties for molesting a woman in public, for doing a whole range of things, of having sex with a porn star on the night
Having sex with a porn star, guys.
pregnant? I mean, what are you talking about? You have the morals of an alley cat.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Give you a minute, sir.
I didn't have sex with a porn star, number one. Number two, that was a case that was
Joe
started
does look scared.
and moved. They moved a
You are absolutely
high-ranking
right, Carol.
official, a DOJ, into the Manhattan DA's office to start that case. That case is going to be appealed and won.
Yup.
We had a very terrible judge,
So
a
is the,
horrible judge, Democrat.
the loan
the prosecutor
fraud
were
shit,
all
too. That's a bunch
high-ranking
of bullshit.
Democrats, appointed people, and both the civil and the criminal. He basically went after his political opponent because he thought it was going to damage me. But when the public found out about these cases, because they understand it better than he does, he has no idea what these cases are. But
No,
when
Trump
when
doesn't
they found
sexually
out about
abuse
these
his
cases,
daughter,
you know what they
Ashley.
did? My poll numbers went up way up. You know that because you're reporting it. And we took
Only
in
Joe
more
Biden
money in the
sexually
last 2
abuses his
weeks
daughter
than
in
we've
the shower.
ever taken in the history of any campaign. I don't think any campaign has ever taken. Hundreds of millions of dollars came pouring in because the public knows it's a scam and it's a guy that's after his political opponent because he can't win fair and square.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, you have said, quote, Donald Trump and his MAGA Republicans
Again, look
are
at this
determined to
electoral
destroy
map,
American
guys.
democracy. Do you believe
Trump,
that the tens of millions of
297.
Americans who are likely to vote for President Trump
Biden,
will be voting
162.
against American democracy?
This is like with the
more
current
they know
polls.
about what he's done, yes. The more they know about what he's done. And there's a lot more coming. He's got a lot of cases down the road coming around. He's got a whole range of issues he has to face. I don't know what the juries will do, but I do know he has a real problem. And so the fact that, could you ever think you heard any president say that I'm going to seek retribution? Do you ever hear any presidents say that I thought Hitler had some good ideas? What got me involved to run in the first place after my son had died?
Just to be fair, Hitler did have good ideas. Superhighways. Yeah, well, he invented the highways at least.
I decided in Iraq because of Iraq.
That was one good idea. See, everyone, even bad people can have good ideas, right? Like you, Joe Biden. You said we should manufacture more computer chips in America. That's a good idea. But you're a terrible person, yet you can have good ideas. See how that works?
I said I wasn't going to run again until I saw what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia. People coming out of the woods carrying swastikas on torches, and singing the same anti-Semitic bile they sang when back in Germany.
No, they were saying the same anti-Semitic bullshit that they were saying just a couple weeks ago on college campuses all over the country. The people, though, you didn't have anything to say about them.
And the young woman got killed. I spoke to the mother, and they asked him. They said, "What do you think of those people? The people the ones who got killed, the one who tried to stop it, and the ones," he said, "I think they're fine people on both sides."
No, oh my God. Joe Biden can't even get his fucking fake story straight.
What American president would ever say Nazis coming out of fields carrying torches, singing the same anti-Semitic bile, carrying swastikas were fine people? And this is a guy who says Hitler's done some good things. I'd like to know what they are. The good things
Like I
Hitler's
said,
done,
he
that's what
invented
said.
highways.
This guy has no sense of American democracy.
Like interstate highways like we have.
President Trump.
That was
Jake,
Hitler.
both of
Kindergarten.
You know,
Oh,
that
yeah,
been
kindergarten.
Totally wiped out because when you see the sentence, it said 100% exoneration on this. So he just keeps it going. He says he ran because of Charlottesville. He didn't run because of
Rockets?
Charlottesville.
Yes, thank you.
He ran
Rockets.
because it was his last chance. He's not equipped to be president. You know it, and I know it. It's ridiculous. We have a debate. We're trying to justify his presidency. His presidency, he's without question the worst presidency in the history of our country.
In the history.
We shouldn't be having a debate about it. There's nothing to debate. He made up the Charlottesville story.
Yup.
You'll see it's debunked all over the place. Every anchor every reasonable
Look at
anchor
Joe, he looks
has
lost.
debunked it. And just the other day it came out where it was fully debunked. It's a nonsense
I got my
story.
robe
He knows
on?
that, and he didn't run because
when
of
is this
Charlottesville.
over?
He
When
used
do I
that
get
as
to
an
go to bed?
excuse to run.
President Biden.
And debunked. It happened. All you
No,
have
it
to do is
didn't.
listen to what was said at the time. And the idea that somehow that's the only reason I ran. I ran because I was worried a guy like this guy could get elected. If he thought they were good people coming out of that forest, carrying those woods, carrying those torches, then he didn't deserve to be president. Didn't deserve to be president at all. And the idea that he's talking about all this being fabricated, we saw with our own eyes. We saw what happened on January 6th. We saw the people breaking through the windows. We saw people occupying his own vice president. Look, there's a reason why 40 of his 44 top cabinet officers refused to endorse him this time. His vice president hasn't endorsed him this time. So why? Why? They know him well. They serve with him. Why are they not endorsing him?
Thank you, President Biden. We're going to be right back with more from the CNN presidential
All right, we can just
debate.
skip past all this. Skip.
They and just
Anything. Child. They acknowledge they made a lot.
Black imprisoned at 5 times the rate of white Americans. What do you say to black voters who are disappointed that you haven't made more progress?
They acknowledge they made a lot of progress, number one. The fact of the matter is there's more small black businesses that have been started than any time in history.
They're small black businesses, guys. They're little tiny black businesses. We got these small black businesses, guys. I think you meant to say black-owned small businesses, but small black businesses.
Number two, the wages of black unemployment is the lowest level it's been in a long, long time.
Guys, the wages of black-level unemployment is the lowest level it's ever been.
Number three, we're providing housing for black Americans.
We're finding housing for black.
And dealing with the segregation that exists among these corporate racial collude to keep people out of their houses.
Oh my God! Oh my God! This is hard to watch, right? Like there's no love lost between me and Joe Biden, right? Right? But this is sad. This is hard to watch. I feel bad for the guy, right?
That we find that the impact on the choice that black families have to make relative to child care is incredibly difficult. When we did the first major piece of legislation in the past, I was able to reduce black child care costs. I cut them in half. We got to make sure we provide for child care costs. We got to make sure, because when you provide those child care protections, you increase economic growth because more people can be in the job market. So there's more to be done.
What the fuck is he saying? I'm finding it, and I'm not. This is not a bit. I'm not doing a bit. I cannot figure out what he is trying to say.
Considerably more to be done, but we've done a great deal so far, and I'm not letting up, and they know it.
You have 49 seconds left. What do you say to black voters who are disappointed with the progress so far?
I say I don't blame them for being disappointed. Inflation is still hurting them badly. For example, I provided for the idea that any black family, first-time home buyer, should get a $10,000 tax credit to be able to buy their first home.
Racist? That's racist. You're discriminating against white people.
So they can get started. I made sure that we're in a situation where all those black families and those black individuals who had to take out student loans that were ballooning, that if they were engaged in nursing, with volunteerism, if they paid their bills for 10 years on their student debt, all the rest is forgiven after 10 years. Millions have benefited from that. And we're going to do a whole lot more for black families.
Thank you, President Trump.
And he caused the inflation.
This is brutal. Oh my God. All right, finally, at least we can understand what Donald Trump is saying.
For black families.
Thank you, President Trump.
Oh, fuck.
And he caused the inflation. He's blaming inflation, and he's right, it's been very bad. Cool. He caused the inflation, and it's killing black families and Hispanic families and just about everybody. It's killing people. They can't buy groceries anymore. They can't. You look at the cost of food where it's doubled and tripled and quadrupled. They can't live. They're not living anymore. He caused this inflation. I gave him a country with essentially no inflation. It was perfect. It was so good. All he had to do is leave it alone. He destroyed it with his Green New scam and all this money that's being thrown out the window. He caused inflation. As sure as you're sitting there, the fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs now, and it could be 18, it could be 19, and even 20 million people. They're taking black jobs, and they're taking Hispanic jobs, and you haven't seen it yet, but you're going to see something that's going to be the worst in our history.
Thank you. President Biden?
There was no inflation.
Trump's right. We're being set up for a horrible, horrible financial future right now.
When I became president, you know why? The economy was flat on its back. 15% unemployment. He decimated the economy, absolutely decimated the economy. That's why there was no inflation at the time. There were no jobs. We provided thousands of millions of jobs for individuals who are in all communities, including minority communities. We made sure that they have health insurance. We have covered, the ACA has increased. I made sure that they're $8,000 per person in a family to get written off for health care. But this guy wants to eliminate that. They tried 50 times. He wants to get rid of the ACA again, and they're going to try again if they win. You find ourselves in a position where the idea that we're not doing anything, we put more police on the street than any administration has. He wants to cut the cops. We're providing for equity and making sure people have a shot to make it. There's a lot going on, but in inflation, he caused it by his tremendous malfeasance in the way he handled the pandemic.
What the
Thank
fuck?
you. Another persistent challenge is the climate.
Biden's got an earpiece in. You guys, listen to how he's talking. I don't know, something weird's going on here.
Crisis. 2023 was the hottest year in recorded history, and communities across the country are confronting the devastating effects of extreme heat, intensifying wildfires, stronger hurricanes, and rising sea levels.
Oh my God, it's summer and it's hot, therefore we have global warming, guys. Summer was never hot before 1984, guys.
Former President Trump, you've vowed to end your opponent's climate initiatives, but will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
Well, let me just go back to what he said about the police, how close the police are to him. Almost every police group in the nation from every state is supporting Donald J. Trump. Almost every police group. And what he's done to the black population is horrible, including the fact that for 10 years he called them super predators. We can't, in the 1990s, we can't forget that. Super predators was his name, and he called it to them for 10, and they've taken great offense at it, and now they see it happening. But when they see what I did for criminal justice reform and for the historically black colleges and universities, where I funded them and got them all funded, and the opportunity zones with Tim, as you know, Tim Scott was incredible.
Don't
He
forget
did a
the
great
platinum
job.
plan.
Great senator from South Carolina. He came to me with the idea, and it was a great idea. It's one of the most successful economic development acts ever in the country, opportunity zones. And the biggest beneficiary are blacks. And that's why we have the best numbers with them in maybe ever. They're saying ever. I read this morning where ever, the best numbers. He's lost much of the black population because he's done a horrible job for black people.
He has.
He's also done a horrible job for Hispanics. But
And
when
white
you see
people,
these
too.
millions of people pouring into our country, and they're going to take the jobs, and it's already started, and you haven't seen anything yet. It's a disaster.
38 seconds left. President Trump, will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
So I want absolutely immaculate clean water, and I want absolutely clean air, and we had it. We had H2O. We had the best numbers ever, and we were using all forms of energy, all forms, everything. And yet, during my 4 years, I had the best environmental numbers ever. And my top environmental people gave me that statistic just before I walked on the stage, actually.
Actually.
I don't know where the hell he's been.
He's been on stage, sir. Where have you been? That's the question. Where have you been all night? You're not doing too well, Joe.
Idea that anything he said is true. I've passed the most extensive climate change legislation in history. We find ourselves, and by the way, black colleges. I came up with $15 billion for HBCUs, historic black universities and colleges, because they don't have the kind of contributors that they have to build these laboratories and the like.
Oh my God.
Any black student is capable in college of doing any white student can do. They just don't have the money, but now they'll be able to get those jobs in high tech. We're in a situation where the idea that he is claiming to have done something that had the cleanest water, he hadn't done a damn thing with the environment. He pulled out of the Paris Climate Accord. I immediately joined it because if we reach 1.5 degrees Celsius at any one point, there's no way back. The only existential threat to humanity is climate change, and he didn't do a damn thing about it.
No.
He wants to undo all the
The only existential threat to humanity is China. Climate change is just some made-up bullshit. Right? I mean, it's not made up. It's based on science, right? But a very narrow view of science.
Done. The Paris Accord was going to cost us $1 trillion, and China nothing, and Russia nothing.
Hey, what's up, Scoop Truck?
It was a ripoff of the United States. And I ended it because I didn't want to waste that money because they treat us horribly. We were the only ones. It was costing us money. Nobody else was paying into it. And it was a disaster. But everything that he said just now, I'll give you an example. I heard him say before insulin. I'm the one that got the insulin down for the seniors. I took care of the seniors. What he's doing is destroying all of our medical programs because the migrants coming in, they want everybody. And look, I have the biggest heart on the stage. I guarantee you that. And I want to take care of people.
I don't know about that,
but we're destroying our country. They're taking over our schools, our hospitals, and they're going to be taking over Social Security. He is destroying Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid.
The idea is that we, in fact, we were.
Oh my God!
Consequence. We're not members of the Paris Accord. How can we do anything if we're not able to? The United States can't get its pollution under control. One of the largest polluters in the world.
Look at Trump. He's like, what the fuck is this moron talking about?
We will have cut pollution in half. We have made significant progress, and we're continuing to make progress. We set up a climate corps for thousands of young people who will learn how to deal with climate, just like the Peace Corps. And we're moving in directions that are going to significantly change the elements of cause of pollution. But the idea that he claims that he has the biggest heart up here and he's really concerned about pollution and about climate, I've not seen any indication of that. And by the way, with regard to prescription drugs, one company agreed that they would reduce the price to $35, which I was calling for, one, voluntarily. I made sure every company in the world, every pharmaceutical company, cannot have to pay.
Thank you.
And by the way,
so every day, millions of Americans struggle just to make ends meet. For many older Americans, Social Security.
That's a man that knows how to follow orders. Now, I have to take a moment here and point out one big contrast I see here. When Trump answers the question, he talks about, I did this, I did that, I accomplished this, right? We did this, my team did that, right? Right? When Joe Biden talks and answers questions, he says, we want to do this, we will do this, this will happen one day, right? 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 And do you see the difference, right? Like, Trump is saying, I was able to accomplish all these things. And Joe Biden's saying, well, I haven't accomplished anything, but I will accomplish if you give me another chance. Right? That was one of that's like the biggest contrast between these two that I'm seeing, is that Trump is talking facts about actions that have happened and the results. Biden is talking about fantasies, basically, what we want to do, what we will do, right? But, he is saying, oh, I did do this, I did do that, right? But those things are, like right now, I got them to lower the cost of insulin. Okay. Great. Like, Trump got rid of ISIS, right? Trump, got Saudi Arabia and Israel to, open up their airspace to each other and all these different things, right?
Provides a critical lifeline.
Biden started a war in the Middle East. Biden started a war in Russia.
Biden, if nothing is done to Social Security, seniors will see their benefits cut in just over 10 years. Will you name tonight one specific step that you're willing to take to keep Social Security solvent?
Yes, make the very wealthy begin to pay their fair share.
That's not going to do it. Really, the best thing he could have said was, I'm going to let millions of new people into the country to work and pay Social Security and then kick them out of the country so that they can never collect it. That's really like the best thing that he's doing, right? Because all these immigrants that are coming in the country and they're working, right? They're paying into our taxes, right? And they're all, not all of them, but many of them are going to wind up deported.
Right now, everybody making under $170,000 pays 6% of their income, of their paycheck, every single time they get a paycheck from the time the first one they get when they're 18 years old. The idea that they're going to, I'm proposing that everybody,
6%.
The millionaires pay 1%. 1%. So no one I would not raise the cost of Social Security for anybody under $400,000. After that, I began to make the wealthy begin to pay their.
Okay, 6% on $100,000 is $6,000. 1%, or I'm sorry, 6% on $100,000 is $6,000. 1% on $1 million is $10,000. So the rich people pay twice as much as the poor people.
Fair share by increasing.
What's not fair about that?
To be able to guarantee the program for life.
So you still have 82 seconds left. Are there any other measures that you think that would be able to help keep Social Security solvent, or is that one enough?
Well, no, that one enough will keep it solvent, but
No, I don't think it will. I just don't think it will.
the biggest thing
You're not going to raise billions of dollars like that.
Because he wants to get rid of Social Security. He thinks there's plenty to cut in Social Security. He's wanting to cut Social Security and Medicare.
Trump thinks poor people should pay nothing.
If you look at
well, that's a good idea.
The program put forward by the House Republican caucus that he, I believe, supports is, in fact, want to cut it as well. The idea that we don't need to protect our seniors is ridiculous. And by the way,
and I have to say, the Republicans don't want to cut anything for people that are already receiving Social Security or will in the next 10 years. So if you're like in your 50s, you're safe. Guys like me are not safe, though, however.
The American public has greater health care coverage today than ever before. And on the ACA, as I said, you're in a circumstance where 400,000 people, 40 million people would not have insurance because they have a pre-existing condition. Only thing that allows them to have that insurance is the fact that they, in fact, are part of the ACA. And by the way, the other thing is we're in a situation where we talk about education for black communities. I've raised the amount of money for Pell Grants by another $8,000. So anybody making under $70,000 a year is going to be able to get $15,000 toward their tuition. He just doesn't know what he's talking about.
Thank you, President Biden, President Trump.
We don't know what you're talking about, sir.
Politicians, all my life, I've been on this side of the equation for the last 8 years. I've never seen anybody lie like this guy. He lies. I've never seen it. He can look you in the face. About so many other things, too. And we mentioned the laptop. We mentioned Russia, Ukraine. Everything he does is a lie. It's misinformation and disinformation. The losers and suckers story that he made up is a total lie on the military. It's a disgrace. But Social Security, he's destroying it because millions of people are pouring into our country, and they're putting them onto Social Security. They're putting them onto Medicare, Medicaid. They're putting them in our hospitals. They're taking the place of our citizens. What they're doing to the VA, to our veterans, is unbelievable. Our veterans are living in the street, and these people are living in luxury hotels.
Yup.
He doesn't know what he's doing, and it's really coming back. I've never seen such anger in our country before.
President Biden?
The idea that veterans are not being taken care of, I told you before. And by the way, when I said suckers and losers, he acknowledged after that he fired that general. That general got fired because he's the one that acknowledged that that's what he said. He was the one standing with Trump when he said it, number one. Number two, the idea that we're going to be in a situation where all these millions and millions, the way he talks about it, illegal aliens are coming into the country and taking away our jobs. There's a reason why we have the fastest growing economy in the world, the reason why we have the most successful economy in the world. We're doing better than any other nation in the world. And by the way, those 15 Nobel laureates he talked about being phony, those 15 Nobel laureates, economists, they all said that if Trump is reelected, we're likely to have a recession and inflation is going to increasingly go up. And by the way, worst president in history, 159 presidential
I think no matter
scholars
who
voted
is president,
for
we're
him
going to
the
have a
worst
recession.
president in the history of the United States of America.
President Biden, thank you so much. Let's
And
turn
it's
to the
gonna be a
cost
bad
of
one.
child care, which many American families struggle to afford. President Trump,
All
both
right,
you
we're
and
just going to end
President
it here.
Biden.
This is a good place to end it. This is getting boring. Joe Biden has lost this debate, and I don't really see any point in continuing, right? Everybody's kind of dropped off, and yeah. Yeah, oh no. Yeah, no, this country's fucked, guys. This country's fucked. Like, we're about to have some serious bad times here in America, guys. He might have an aneurysm. No, we are due for some serious bad times in this country, guys. Yeah, so the Supreme Court is not. I mean, they're doing some good rulings, but they just ruled that the government can censor people through social media, right? Biden's getting better as he goes on. I don't think so. I think he's getting worse and worse. I can barely understand about half of what he's saying. I can only understand about half of what he's saying, guys. So I don't really know. It doesn't look good for him. Yeah, but they pushed it back down, right? Which that ruling says that the government can do it, right? So they pushed it back down to the previous ruling, right? Which is boom, the government can censor people on social media, right? Now, it will likely come back up, but I'm just saying, as it stands right now, the precedent is the government can censor people, right? And that's bad. Yeah, speaking of bad, they haven't had a press secretary all week. There was a gaggle today, but we don't do gaggles. So I'm pretty confident that tomorrow we'll get a press secretary. Yeah, I can't believe that it went that bad. It sucked. I can't believe it. They didn't say, hell no, this is absolutely not okay, right? Like, the government can't censor people. They can't pressure companies to censor people. Like, that's what you'd think the Supreme Court would say, but apparently not. But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, you're right though. They didn't rule that they could. They just ruled that they just sent it back down to the lower court, right? Which had already ruled that they could, right? So that doesn't mean the case won't be brought again. Yeah. So, wow, this was this went very good for Donald Trump. Believe it or not, they're gonna somehow spin this. Oh, okay. So I guess the debate is now technically over, right? So let's see who won. Let's see what they're saying about the debate now. Yeah, that'll be fun. So. Okay, let me turn my light on real quick. Okay. We're going to look to see what they're saying. All right. anytime. Let's go to Google. Yahoo sucks. Oh, you guys want to hear closing statements? Okay, hold on. All right, we'll do that. Let's just see who they picked to win the debate. Okay, I'm not seeing anything that just happened. Yeah, I don't see anything. We'll go here. Live updates. Okay. Fuck it. Yeah, we'll just go right to the end. All right. Good call. All right, let's see here. How far are we off the end? Here. Okay, we'll go right here. All right. All right, we'll watch the end.
Rather accepted the if you want one
at 60 and you
What the hell?
Again, Ukraine should have never happened. He talks about all this stuff, but he didn't do it. For 3.5 years, we're living in hell. We have the Palestinians and we have everybody else rioting all over the place. You talk about Charlottesville. This is 100 times.
Okay, let's go back. All right, here we go.
Okay, I'm going to make sure we do something about what we're doing on lead pipes.
Yeah, me too, Scoop Trucks.
Causing health problems for people across the country. We're going to
Yeah,
continue to
CNN
fight
didn't
to
do as
bring
bad
down
as I thought they
inflation
would.
and give people a break.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, you now have 2 minutes for your closing statement.
Like so many politicians, this man is just a complainer. He said, we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to get rid of this.
Oh, Trump said exactly what I said. We want to do this. We're going to do that. Right? Right? Oh, Trump. See, great minds do think alike, guys.
But he doesn't do anything. He doesn't do. All he does is make our country unsafe by allowing millions and millions of people to pour in. Our military doesn't respect him. We look like fools.
Judge is calling it a catastrophe for Biden.
Stop Israel. It was such a horrible thing that would have never happened. It should have never happened. Iran was broke. Anybody that did business with Iran, including China, they couldn't do business with the United States. They all passed. Iran was broke. They had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah, for terror, no money whatsoever. Again, Ukraine should have never happened. He talks about all this stuff, but he didn't do it. For 3.5 years, we're living in hell. We have the Palestinians and we have everybody else rioting all over the place. You talk about Charlottesville. This is 100 times Charlottesville, 1,000 times. The whole country is exploding because of you.
He'll never be this lucid again.
And they have to respect their president, and they don't respect you throughout the world. What we did was incredible. We rebuilt the military. We got the largest tax cut in history, the largest regulation cut in history. The reason he's got jobs is because I cut the regulations that gave jobs. But he's putting a lot of those regulations back on. All of the things that we've done, nobody's never seen anything like. Even from a medical standpoint, right to try, where we can try space-age materials instead of going to Asia or going to Europe.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. The right to try was a huge win for people that are sick.
And trying to get when you're terminally ill, now you can go and you can get something. You sign a
Traven
document.
says I'm
They've been
done
trying to
paying
get
$11
it
for Diet
42
Coke.
years. But you know what we did for the military was incredible choice for our soldiers, where our soldiers, instead of waiting for 3 months to see a doctor, can go out and get themselves fixed up and readied up and take care of themselves, and they're living. And that's why I had the highest approval rating in the history of the VA. So all of these things, we're in a failing nation, but it's not going to be failing anymore. We're going to make it great again.
Yes.
Thank you, former President Trump, President Biden. Stay with us because we have full analysis of this debate. Anderson Cooper and Aaron Burnett starts now on CNN.
All right. Well, that was it.
And so the first presidential debate of the 2024 election season.
Let's hear what
is
CBS has
in
to say
the
about it,
books,
guys.
As you witnessed, President Biden
Let's see what the
opening this
pundits
debate and
say.
continuing with a very shaky voice, a raspy voice that we have learned from advisors close to him that apparently he's had a cold for the.
Oh, wow. I can't believe they went there. They said that Joe Biden was very shaky and raspy.
Past several days, but he also had a number of wandering answers during
Biden's wife had to help him off the stage. Where?
Starts now on CNN.
You got a video of that?
To tout it.
All right,
on the debate.
All right, let's go. Let's hear this pundit.
John of the time. Start with you.
For the majority of Americans who don't want this choice, the debate met those expectations. I think you characterized it correctly. What we heard about President Biden is people who know him said, when he was underestimated in the 2020 campaign, people said, look to his convention speech, and he exceeded expectations. They said, look to his State of the Union addresses when he exceeded expectations. On the debate stage, he came in well under expectations, both as a matter of performance and as arguing for why his vision for the future is better. As you mentioned, Donald Trump gave fantastic, delusional answers on January 6th, on Charlottesville.
They're
on what
saying
he
he
said
blew
about
it, guys.
the theft of the last election, and that matters because he's trying to convince people who saw things with their own eyes that what they saw was not
Joe's
so.
done.
And part of being president is seeing things clearly. So,
Yeah, well, Joe Biden is trying to tell everyone that what they see with their own eyes isn't true. He calls them, cheap fakes, right? Yeah. So, I think all politicians are guilty of gaslighting. Oh, well, that's it. All right, that's all we're gonna watch, I guess. All right. He'll sleep for 3 days. This guy he's a fucking joke, right? Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. The president is a freaking joke. I'm just glad we don't have to suffer through his bullshit anymore. It's all over, guys. It's all over. Yeah. Biden got crushed. I expect Trump to rise even more in the polls. Guys, we might see Washington State go to fucking Donald Trump after this shit. Right? Right? Oh, man. This was hilarious. Hilariously bad. Huh. I wonder what else other people are saying. It seems like everybody agrees that Joe Biden flubbed it. Well, we know what they're saying on CNN, so we're not even going to go there. All right, yeah. Yeah, so that's it for that. Let's see. You guys know, I've been working very hard on my cryptocurrency social media thing. It's slow going, but I'm making a lot of progress. If that makes sense. It's once your project gets so big and so complex, it's just a nightmare. It becomes a nightmare. Like making small little changes now, it's a nightmare. It's just a nightmare. But So that is impacting how often I stream. But we're about to see fruits from that, and I think that that's great. I'm really excited about where I think that this thing is going. I've made an executive decision, guys. So I think the best thing for me to focus on is going to be the binary contracts and peer-to-peer exchange. So I think that that's going to give me. I think that that's going to draw more people in than the social media platform, but I don't know. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing, is that Joe Biden had to escort Joe Biden off the stage. I don't know how true that is. I haven't seen it with my own eyes, but if anybody has a clip of that, I would love to see it. Yeah, so just bear with me, guys. It's only going to be a little bit longer, and then it's going to be a little bit longer than that. But I totally expect that sometime in July we're going to be releasing the test version of Bubble. So, yes, we're getting down to the line. It's coming out. Right now, I'm just mostly taking it from a prototype to an alpha version. So, like I said, it already pretty much works. But it's just the way that it works is not very obvious or user friendly. So I'm just working on making it more what people expect, what I think people will expect it to be, or whatever. Like, operate the way, right? We're polishing it up. We're polishing this turd till it shines, okay? All right, yeah, I want to thank all of you guys. You guys know that YouTube is a bunch of assholes, and they hate my channel. So if you guys want to help the channel out, I dropped some links for Venmo and all that shit. I want to thank you guys for helping me doing this stuff all these years. I can't wait to show you guys what I've been building. Yes, it's going to be exciting. Now, yeah, so I'm just going to go do that. I'm just going to get back to work. Maybe have some dinner and get back to work. Maybe smoke some blonde hash. I don't know. But I will see you guys probably tomorrow. I think that we'll get a press secretary tomorrow. Yeah, until then, we go live with all kinds of content. You don't want to miss out, so make sure you are subscribed. And make sure you're like the bell and all that. Right? They'll unclick the bell for you. So they will unsubscribe you. They will unclick the bell. They will do all those things. All right. I'll see you guys around. Peace.